Tune in to see our news, black news is coming to you. Extra, extra, read all about it.
Yeah, man.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad you're here. And, when I had to give that introduction because years later we came back together to speak how did all this happen? I mean, it's like, this was years ago. What year was this, the 90s or the anniversary?
So I think you first reached out to me in the early 2000s.
Okay.
It was an event to commemorate the Stewart tragedy.
Okay.
And it was a concert that was being held at the Mission Hill Church.
Right.
And somehow you found out, or someone told you, that I was a graphic designer.
Right.
And there were promotional materials that needed to be developed for the concert. And we met, and it was you and one other gentleman.
Donald Garnett.
Donald.
He has passed.
And so we developed the fundraising materials for the event.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, as I recall, an amazing concert. To kind of reflect upon the tragedy Mission Hill, with proceeds that went to go towards local scholarships, I believe, for students who live in Mission Hill. So I said, sign me up.
Right.
And then that's how I first heard about you and your longtime kind of activism and engagement in Mission Hill.
Right. So we're going to be joined by Daren. How do you say his last name?
Bascome, yes.
Bascome. And he's getting an award at an event that you're the president of AIGA,
right?
Boston. And I want to really dig down deep into this design and these graphics because I went to school for marketing where you're lecturing, Bentley University.
Oh, wow. Small world.
Small world. Played basketball and everything. And I wanted to kind of talk about the event that's coming up, the award he's getting. And he's going to be joining us, and we're going to kind of dig down deep in what he's doing with Proverb.
Cool. Yeah, so if I can put a little plug for the event. It's October 1st at the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston. The doors will open at 6 p.m. And the event will start at 6:30. And the AIGA Fellows Award is the highest recognition a designer can receive at the chapter level. There's a national award, but this is quite an achievement. They are presented every couple of years. This year we're giving out 3 fellow awards. And one of the recipients, as you mentioned, Daren, is going to join us in a little bit.
Right.
It's to receive this award, not only do you have to demonstrate excellence in design, you have to also show a commitment to community, to engagement, and to the profession, which Daren, all 3 of these folks exemplify, but Daren, he's a star.
Right. I've seen his website, and
yes.
the interactive, and I mean, it's just, it came to life. It's very vibrant.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll give an introduction to Daren.
Right.
He's been known in the Boston design community for many years. Years ago, he started his design firm / agency, Proverb.
Right.
And he helps organizations of all kinds, businesses, organizations, institutions. Many of them, I'm sure, would be familiar to your listeners if they're from the Boston area.
Right.
Big cultural institutions like the Museum of Fine Arts, but also schools, restaurants, hotels, cultural initiatives. And all these folks go to Daren, not just, I would say, for design as most people think of it, like a visual approach, but really, I think they come to Daren to help tell their story.
Okay.
To help connect with people. And, in my opinion, Daren has also this magic ability to bring people together, which is something that I think you and I also kind of share and appreciate that level of engagement and thinking and community that's embedded in his work. Yeah.
Right. Well, let's talk about that. You know, the connection with your line of work, which you're also in the community, working with the community. That's how we connected with the community-based organizations, the organizers, people on the ground, and nonprofits that are struggling to get a brand. And what is a brand? And can you kind of talk about that whole process?
Well,
Is that a lot?
yeah.
Because I'm not really interested in this.
So, I'm sure Daren will share some thoughts
Okay.
on this too, but, maybe it's always been this way, but ever more so in the 21st century. Every organization, every corporation, every institution needs an identity.
Right.
And the identity needs to be clear. One would say that all of us in the 21st century have a brand in some ways. Like you have a brand, I have a brand. And in many cases, those brands are calculated and they can withhold tremendous value.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we need help
Right.
from other people who are experts in branding and communication to present ourselves, to tell our
Right.
stories, to do so in ways that are clear, distinctive, memorable. And so the tools that we use have changed over time.
Right.
Here we are sitting in a studio full of digital equipment.
And you have about 200,000 people watching,
Wow.
viewing, listening on 30 different media outlets.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Who would have thought, so in the same way that radio has changed over the years, design has changed a lot. Of course, digital media has changed everything. So probably when Daren and I were starting out, it was more like print-based media,
Right.
advertising, promotional materials that were distributed that way. Now you see firms like Proverb developing videos,
Right.
shooting film. So the whole notion of even what a graphic designer does in the 21st century has changed a lot.
Right.
But I would say in exciting ways. And Daren exemplifies this, probably one of the reasons that he's receiving the award. But the other two recipients, if I can just maybe nod to them as well.
Right.
Suzanne McKenzie, for instance, has
Okay.
branched out into fashion. Oh, and Darren's here. Hey, welcome, Daren. And then Tammy Dotson, who also is engaged with the community and does a lot around sustainability and other initiatives as well. So, the organization AIGA, we're just honored to present the award to these three folks. I think it's
Right.
timely, and we're excited for the event to celebrate them on October 1st at the MFA.
Right. Well, you know what, man? Let me tell you. This guy here is your biggest fan. I don't even have to say anything else. He just gave you this introduction. And I was like, when you told me about Daren, who's a fellow, recipient, a champion, number 3, right? Only 3 out of how many people? 70 chapters, 20,000 people or so? Or,
So the national organization has thousands of members. Regionally, Boston has one of the biggest chapters in the nation, and we were one of the first chapters, I believe. It's about 40 years AIJ Boston has been in existence. So this is quite an award, and the previous fellows are all seen as quite amazing designers.
Right.
So Daren's
we got
sort of
Daren
entering good company here.
Welcome to Boston Black News, Daren. Let me just tell you who this guy is from your bio, because I was reading this and I was like, I know this guy. I seen him on TV, Boston Magazine. I said, I know him, but I don't know him, but I know him. Anyway, Daren Bascome is managing director of the award-winning Boston-based branding and advertising firm Proverb Agency, which is founded in 1997. Proverb develops brands, campaigns, websites, and marketing collateral, pairing great design with strategic thinking to create impact, more vibrant communities, to make a cities great. But Bascome has designed at Mass College of Art. Bascome studied design at Mass College of Art and design at Massa from 1980 to 1992. It goes on and on. All these different awards and so forth, man. Welcome again, man.
Wow,
and it's
thank you
like,
so much.
man, we're going to just dig right down. Because we're here talking about branding. I went to school for marketing, so I'm like, this is really exciting. I feel a little buzzing going on in the ears, right? And I just wanted to what made you come up with Proverb and the name Proverb? Because that's biblical, and we're in the church, black church, right? And it's like we're just trying to want to find out who you are.
Yeah. No. Thank you for the question. And,
Yeah.
I mean, so from the beginning, I knew that I wanted it to be a platform that was bigger than my last name or something along those lines. And
Right.
I was talking to a good friend of mine, and I was trying to figure out a name at that time, and he came back to me and he was like, you know what? I figured it out. I was at the dentist and I saw this 14th century German proverb. It was, the ears listen, but the eyes believe. And he was like, wow, that's like everything that you do. That's what you should call your company.
Right.
And I was like, wow, that's a terrible name. But as I thought more about it, proverbs are the collective wisdom. It's a way of taking something that's really complicated, distilling it down to something that's simple, pithy, memorable. They show up across all cultures. They show up in the Bible.
Right.
And they're almost always useful when applied appropriately. And so, it certainly has been a name that's kind of served the work that we do.
Right.
And we've been really excited in terms of, the organizations we've been able to partner with.
Right. Well, I was telling Dan, I said, man, I looked at the website. I was like, wow, this is banging. And it's like, it comes to life and like, boom. And what made you become a designer, and how did that all come about? Just.
I grew up in sort of a creative family in a lot of ways.
Are you in Boston? Or you?
So both. So I was born and grew up in Bermuda for the most part. And my dad went to college later in life at 35 and went to Berklee College of Music, studied composition.
Okay.
And so we lived on Monroe Street in Roxbury that whole time. My mom worked at Unity Bank.
Right.
And that time in Boston was really formative for all of us, and kind of put us on a different trajectory. And even when we moved back to Bermuda, sort of, the Boston of that time had a lot of challenges and a lot of awful things that were happening. Also had a lot of really amazing things that were happening.
Right. And Monroe Street is a very historical landmark.
That's right.
That area. Yeah.
And so, and so I think like this idea of, both growing up around professional creatives. My mom's also a concert pianist and, was also a banker. I think that, that influence certainly had a big impact. I was always really interested in art and science and, social studies and things along those lines. And, when I was 14, I was able to convince them to let me take a summer course at Mass College of Art and Design.
Oh, okay.
And it was a program for high schoolers. And we were able to kind of test out this idea to figure out like if there's a there or not. But, and so I think that, all of those things certainly were really formative in terms of, helping me to get on a path, in starting Proverb, and I was always, freelancing at right before I started the company. I worked in exhibit design for a number of years, and so this is a company that planned and produced museums and aquariums and zoos all around the world. So I got to work on things like the National Museum of Australia and the aquariums in Barcelona and Taiwan, American Jazz Museum in Kansas City. And what's really interesting about that work is that you start by sitting across from someone like yourself who's super smart, and if we were at
Come on, Kevin, come on. You can say it.
And so, if we were going to make the Ron Bell Museum, you probably know too much.
Right.
And so, how do we work with you to winnow it down to like 3 things that the world should know about you, or sort of the impact that you've had?
Right.
And then, secondly, from there, how do you turn that into a story? How do you align various disciplines to tell that story? So writers, filmmakers, architects, lighting designers. And if you're able to do that successfully, you create things that really are immersive and that people walk into and believe. And so I managed to get a few things built. It was a Friday afternoon, kind of like this. And there were rumors that there were going to be layoffs within the company.
Do we have a caller? Caller, you're live on Boston Black News.
Yeah.
Caller? Hello? Anyway, one common thread, Dan, I'm going to turn this back on to you in reference to
can you hear me clearly?
Oh, now we can. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Who are we talking to?
My name's Celeste.
Okay.
And I have a question. I've been a secret fan of Proverb Agency for a very long time. Never reached out because I just didn't feel like I had any, that's neither here nor there. So my question is, I have a question.
Okay.
Today's society, right, marketing, branding, social media is very important. It's almost like if you're not on social media, you don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
What advice do you have for the Christian community or churches as far as marketing and positioning themselves in a way to bring in or bring awareness or attention to the church community and getting involved in social media, getting involved in marketing, branding, and the right messaging?
Thank you for
I know
your.
that's like a loaded.
Yeah.
with
Okay.
very
That's a
few
lot.
layers.
Okay. We're gonna give either one who wants to answer that question. I think it's a good question. We're here at Boston Black News. We are community, because that's one of the questions I was gonna tie that in with organizing, telling the story, but.
Yeah,
Sure.
no, it's a great question, and and a number of years ago, we partnered with the Unitarian Universalist organization to
Okay.
do their rebrand, and I'll talk a little bit about some of those things because I think it directly addresses the question. But for them, unlike a lot of churches, their membership was getting older,
Right.
but wasn't necessarily in decline in terms of numbers. But what they did see was a significant opportunity with younger people, and were really interested in how do they actually sort of present their offering. This is an organization that's kind of been at the vanguard in terms of progressive values. Whether it's abolition of slavery, marriage equality,
Right.
you name it, they've kind of been at that frontier,
Cutting edge.
Yeah, and so for them, what they really wanted to do was to figure out, like, how do they show up as a compelling option on a Sunday morning alongside the other things that people oftentimes are doing or that churches are oftentimes competing with, whether we're talking about yoga, so if that's part of your competitive set, what can you learn from Lululemon? Or what can you learn from an organization that's as interested in the here and now as it is in the ever after? And if that's the case, how do you actually sort of bear witness to that good work?
Right.
And so I think that, the first piece of developing a successful social strategy is figuring out, what is it that this organization really wants to be about? And strategy isn't just about what you say yes to, it's what you say no to, right? And this idea of being able to say the same thing in slightly different ways over and over again. And so, if we're XYZ church and we really stand for these types of things and we want to show up around these types of things, wanted to make sure that everyone's really clear in terms of what those things are. I would say the second piece of it is, doing the work in terms of figuring out sort of like what your look and feel wants to be. And so what's the tone and tenor and attitude and, and all of those things. And I think that that's what really helps to make your message more recognizable, and I would say that the last piece of it is, looking at how you can articulate those messages in a way that is more useful than salesy, and looking at how you can articulate those things in ways that are really short. Attention spans are more and more limited.
Yeah, I hope he answered the question. I know you answered it from me. Did you want to take a shot at it?
Well, no, I'm just to give a little plug for Proverb in addition to what Daren said, because maybe you're being a bit too humble here. One of the things I think Proverb does exceedingly well is helps clients find their kind of authentic voice. And in my view, they also do so quite honestly. I don't think, as folks that do branding and promotional stuff and graphics, that we should tell untruths, but seek the truth and help tell those stories more clearly and in ways that are compelling and interesting. So I think that's been recognized, and that's been part of the success and trajectory of Daren and his firm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I wanted to kind of call to thank you so much that the storytelling piece, because as a community organizer, that's organizing 101. Your story, tell your story, and I think in my role as a organizer, running campaigns, one of the speeches telling the story was when Obama spoke at the Democratic National Convention, when he introduced himself. He was a senator at the time.
Yeah.
That was like telling his story. It's used a lot in universities, but that was awesome what you explained as far as the branding, the tenor, and all that. And I think, do you have a book out? Or a pamphlet or any? Give us some sharp points right there.
Yeah. I mean, we certainly have materials that we can share.
Yeah.
To anyone who reaches out, and I know I talked a lot about strategy and how we set that up, and at Proverb, whenever we approach an assignment, we do a deep dive into the product or service, the consumers that we need to win and influence, the competitive landscape, and culture.
Right.
And so what are some of those macro forces that are sort of influencing how people are receiving the information?
Right.
Because the circumstances really do matter.
Right.
And the culmination of that is what we call a brand truth. It's really this underlying idea that doesn't necessarily go public,
Right.
but can really help to inform not just advertising and communication efforts or branding efforts. We think that that's about a third of what that can help to support. The second is really around sort of organizational development. So what's that bumper sticker version that gets somebody out of bed
Right.
Early in the morning and helps them to
Because you
show up
have
with
all these
conviction.
competing forces that coming
Absolutely.
at people, and and you really have to be top of the line. So congratulations
Thanks.
on the award, the honor. I said to Dan earlier, I said, this is a guy I've seen on TV. So it's like, it's good. It's good to be in your company. Dan, you want to have final remarks? We have another guest that's coming in and talk a little bit more about the event coming up on October 1st.
Yes, it's just if anybody's interested in attending the event, you can purchase tickets on our website. It's boston.aiga.org. Anyone's welcome. It's open to the public, and the doors open at 6. So congratulations to Daren and the other awardees, and we look forward to celebrating them.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming, and
Terrific.
I look forward to seeing you on October 1st. Thank you. You guys can get going. We're going to go right back into the thing, and we'll talk to you later on. All right. God
Thanks,
bless you.
Ron. Yep.
617-282-0685. We had Daren Bascome and Dan Vlahos, who's here talking about the design world, the creativity, the cultural activities that go on. It's really exciting to be here on Boston Black News. We're going to be taking a station break, and we're going to be right back every Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. here at Boston Black News, right in Carbon Square, 351 cities and towns throughout the Commonwealth, 50 states. Wow, 23 neighborhoods and counting. We're here at Boston Black News. Be right back.
Story about us. It's a story we cannot trust. Told always from a European point of view. The time to tell our story is overdue. Oh, yeah. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, tune in to see how news back to
imperative that the truth about us, we give. No more trying to get ratings with the hating. No more fake news. Now
Hi,
we can...
my name is Julisa, and I listen to Boston Praise Radio and TV, 102.9 FM, and Boston Black News.
Boston Black News.
Extra, extra, read all about it. To see how extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, tune in to see how extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, extra, read all about it. Extra, tune in to see how
lost years ago, a couple of years ago, Anime Dancy, a good friend of mine, Jimmy Dancy, who's the vice president of the Dancy Foundation. Good friend of mine, awesome ball player too, by the way, businessman. But he has a grandson that's that's his nephew, but you're the grandbaby of Anime.
Absolutely.
And good blood. You got some good genes in you.
I appreciate
so
that.
Brother, welcome, Antoine Stewart.
Thank you.
Now, you were on my broadcast in Milton.
Yes, sir.
And I was very impressed with you, and it was two other brothers with you. It was all three, like the triple threat.
Triple threat.
So tell me a little bit about the foundation, what you're doing now. You have the floor, brother.
Oh, thank you. So the Anime Dancy Foundation is a nonprofit.
Right.
We started it 2 years ago after we lost our beloved Anime Dancy.
Right.
We're having our 4th event coming up actually tomorrow, September 21st.
Right.
At the Adams Inn in Quincy, from 6 to 10. But ultimately, the foundation is a foundation that's looking to push the youth forward.
Right.
Actually, tomorrow we're going to be actually giving out scholarships. People looking to further their education, going to different universities, colleges, or things like that.
Right.
But ultimately, the Anime Dancy Foundation was built off of a mission, and our mission is very simple: it's to push the youth forward.
Right.
You know?
And she was an educator.
Absolutely.
As I mentioned, Cheryl, and I heard many of the remarks that were made, and even Jimmy even sung at the homegoing service at the Morning Star Baptist Church. I was present.
Oh, yeah.
And so this event, we have another hero, Charlie Titus is the keynote speaker tomorrow, and actually he was recruiting me in college.
Nice.
I used to play ball, and he would try to get me to get transferred to UMass, and now we got me on this board, Higher Ground. So Charlie's a good man, much wisdom. So tell me more about the event, how much it costs, is it too late to get tickets, and how can they get them? Okay.
It's never too late. It's never too late. You can go to amdfinc.com. You can purchase tickets there. You can also donate to the foundation.
Right.
Or you can come to the Adams Inn, 29 Hancock Street in Quincy.
Right.
You can meet us there at 6 o'clock and purchase tickets at the door. Tickets are $125.
Okay. Now we talked about that. Let's talk about you. Because I want to hear about your business, what you're doing these days. When I see young brothers like yourself, like soaring, we want to make sure we give them a platform to talk about it, to encourage other brothers to do such as what you're doing.
Absolutely. So I'm 28 years old. I run a finance company and insurance agency. I've been in business for 11 years. I just came out with a book called Consideration. This book, what it does is it teaches people how to make money, save money, and get out of debt. Ultimately, also, now regarding the Anime Dancy Foundation, what I'm working on is basically I handle all the marketing, from programs to different things we got to do, and then I also handle the finance as well.
Right.
Sorry about that, guys. Getting a little
No. We want to make sure you look good.
Okay, do I look good?
Yeah, you look good. Yeah, right. There you go. I just want you to just relax, and we're in here amongst family. Just only 200,000 people looking.
Oh yeah, I know that's right. So so like I was saying, with Anime Dancing Foundation, I handle all the scholarships, different things of that sort. I'm big on the marketing department, pushing the word, getting us out there, making sure people know about the Anime Dancing Foundation.
Yeah. You're a good marketing machine.
I try my best.
You do pretty good. So the event, we have that coming up, and your role as marketing, that's your business, correct? Is that? So
I'm using my business expertise, everything that I built within the last 11 years to kind of push that within the Anime Dancing Foundation. And how much are the tickets? $125. $125. And how many scholarships are you guys giving out? So this year we're giving out 2.
Okay.
Last December we gave out 2 as well, but we're looking to give out at least 5, for 2025.
That's awesome. That is really good. So what is your advice to other young men out in, you've actually come up and you're still Milton resident, I presume. Yeah, absolutely. It's good community, right?
Great community.
I love Milton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love Mission Hill too, and
I know
JP.
You should. You should.
So
the whole Massachusetts.
We love Massachusetts. Yeah, but what is your advice to other young people? There are a lot of things. We had designers on earlier. Who's award-winning AIGA. They like do design and marketing. That's why I wanted to make sure you guys connected.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and what is your advice, a young man, 28 years old, to other young people to encourage them to make it in this life?
Right. My advice is don't follow the crowd. Dare to be different.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Robert Frost, he has a poem called The Road Not Taken. And I advise a lot more people, be a leader.
Right.
There's the youth, we're doing a lot of crazy stuff right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We barely even listen to our elders. I tell people, first and foremost, listen to your elders. They know the way. They paved the way.
Right.
And then from there, don't follow the crowd. Dare to be different. And then put yourself around people who's doing things that you want to do.
Right. Yeah. Right. So one of the things that we talked about with the designers, one of the brothers is getting the AIGA award, just like architect. I don't know what the acronym means, but it's like one of the highest awards. And he's done things international.
Nice.
I mean, the marketing, the brand Proverb, Daren Bascome. Okay. And then we had the president. That was the other gentleman you met, Dan Vlahos, who's the president of AIGA.
Nice.
And their creativity, the storytelling, just reminded me of, like, as an organizer. That's what I do: voter registration, turnout, education. That the story is so important. Even in marketing, the story, your presentation is so important. You had mentioned Robert Frost. That was one of the poems that I had to recite at Boston Latin. Declamation, The Road Not Taken. Yes. I don't remember it, but it'll come back.
It stuck to me. The Road Not Taken.
That's a good poem. That makes sure you get your education. But yeah, man. So I'm excited about. Jimmy Dancy had asked me to. Have someone represent the foundation to come and talk about it. They couldn't pick a better person, man.
Oh yeah, I know what you're doing.
And it's really good. But I want to make sure I encourage everyone, if you're interested in getting a ticket, the Anime Dancing Foundation presents its 3rd annual commemoration and scholarship fundraising dinner Saturday, September 21st, which is tomorrow, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And the keynote speaker is Charlie Titus, and the guest speakers is Dr. Jesse Edward, and Sky Lauren Warren.
Yep.
And enjoy live music radio broadcast by DJ Mark Harris. Okay, yeah, so it's going to be an exciting event. Again, man, thank you for coming on.
Hey, thank you.
One of the things I wanted to tie right into, like, what we're doing is voter registration and turnout. What is your advice? Are you a registered voter?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I wouldn't be a part of the Anime Dance
Okay, because I was going to get you on that one. What is your advice as far as getting young people your age? This whole intergenerational gap that's going on. The elders, Generation X, Y, Z, and everything like that, right? What is your advice? What is your pitch to say?
Get up and get out and vote.
Okay.
Right? Because it's up to us to kind of make the future how we want it to look. And we have that ability. But if we don't vote, then we really don't have a say.
Right. I need to hire you.
And then absolutely. And also, people of color, we always didn't have an opportunity.
Right.
Right. So for us not to go out and vote, it's like we're kind of disrespecting the people who came before us.
Yeah.
The ones who made a way for us to enjoy the fruits of our labor.
And that's good for some, and but there are others when you're doing that pitch. It's like, is it worth it, or what is your approach for your second spiel? Like if you're
and they're real hard-headed. They're like, nah, I don't want to vote.
They just don't want nothing to do with it.
So I tell them like this, don't complain.
Okay.
It's that simple. If you don't want to go out and make a change, then don't complain about the things you don't like.
Right. 617-282-0685. We've had an exciting morning, very interesting conversation with Antoine Stewart, who is a board member of the Anime Dancing Foundation. There's an event going on tomorrow night, 6 p.m. And what's the location again?
29 Hancock Street.
That's
at the Adams Inn.
The Adams Inn, 29 Hancock Street. That's in Quincy.
Quincy,
Mass. Right up the bridge or down Hancock Street. Is that turn? No, not that turn. Up, you go.
You got to go up.
And you got to go down. They go. Yeah.
GPS. GPS.
But So I want to encourage people to go out and vote. Make sure you get one of these. I meant to give Dan a copy of this, but I'm gonna give this copy to you. Here we have the dates of the voting. October 26th is the last day to register to vote. Make sure you go out and vote. You can vote online. Go to boston.gov. October 29th, it's the last day to apply to vote by mail. So make sure, you bring someone to the poll. Antoine, he gave you the pitch. You use that one. I mean, anything we can to get our folks to vote because it's a matter of life and death. October 19th is early voting. Dunk the Vote and other groups, Jack and Jill, the Common Square Council, and other groups, they're going to be coming together right here in Dorchester to get out the vote early. We want folks to go out and get it over with. Just go and take care of business. October 19th, early voting sites. You don't have to live in that particular neighborhood. You are required to just be registered. And you can still register all the way up until October 26th. So you have some time. Do it as quick as you can. You can go to dunkthevoteforever.org. Make sure you go to our website. It can tell you ways of getting access to power. Get one of these, making Boston government work for you. This is a step-by-step how to get access in city services, to find out who your elected officials are, city councilors, whether it's state reps, whether it's state senators. Tell you a little bit difference between the state senator and U.S. senator. There's conversations that we did with Real Talk Boston Network that young people came together, elders came together to come up with this document. So we're really excited about it. We have some more we need to order. So just go to our website. We have a digital version. Antoine, thank you for coming in, man.
Thank you guys for
Any final words to our audience?
If you guys are not a part of the Anime Dancing Foundation, we would love to have you. We're going to do a lot of big things in the city of Boston. We actually have people coming down from the Mississippi, Memphis area to shed light on all the things that Anime done there as well. So definitely want to see you guys a part of the Anime Dancing Foundation.
All right, man. Thank you, Boston. We're going to be right back. We're going to take a little station break, and we'll be right back.
Oh, here we are. It's time to vote again. Put on your walking shoes and get on down to the voting poll. It's time again to get out and vote. Yes, it's time again to get out and vote. Don't devote, people. 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 Don't devote. Here we are again at this yesterday. It's time to vote again. We can't let nothing get in our way. 4 years has passed and we have so much to say. So now's the time to cast your vote, 'cause voting is our only hope. It's time again to get out and vote. Yes, it's time again to get out and vote. Don't you vote, people. 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 Don't you vote. Many of our children are dying from police brutality, and now voting for us is our responsibility. Yes, voting we must to deal with these tragedies, and God we must trust, and voting is the seed. So now's the time to cast your vote.